Hello, this is Sudhakar Moparthi. Today we are going to talk about working with object metadata in S3 service. So what is metadata? It's data about data. Now, what is that in S3 service? Okay, so in S3, we upload objects. Objects are files. Every object should have a key, object key. And we want to tell a little bit more about that object, then we can send some metadata. This is the actual data. This object is the file that you just uploaded. So we want to tell a little bit more about that data. This is called metadata. So what kind of metadata? We will see some of the things that you can define. What are they? They are nothing but a bunch of key value pairs. Okay, title equal to sample or things like that. Key value pairs. What is key value pair? So it should have a key and it should have a value. So if you have a key and a value, then it's a key value pair object. So depending upon what level of abstraction, we can draw these c1, c2 diagrams. So I don't have to all the time specify key value pair means it should have a key and a value. I don't have to say that. I just need to say key value pair and I can eliminate this. Okay. So then the diagrams will look, a little bit better. Otherwise, it gets crowded. Anyway, so for now, I'm going to just draw, but later videos I may not. Whatever the class I have covered, that I will not cover again and again in the future videos. So by then, you should be clear what I mean by that. So in this case, this metadata, we will store in the form of key value pairs. And there are two types of metadata. Is it system defined? That means AWS defined, that I can change or not change. So is it system defined? That means is AWS system defined? If not, if it is yes, then I have to that particular metadata will have the key name. Key name will be given to me. I don't have the ability to choose whatever name I want. But whereas if it is a user defined, say, so let's say user defined, if it is not system defined, that means it is user defined. And that particular key, that particular metadata may have a key value pair where I can define my own key, XYZ, ABC, whatever I want to define, I can define. So that's the concept. Certain things maintained by system and certain things maintained by user. So similar thing has happened in our policy also, policy objects. So AWS defined policies are custom defined policies. So those is system defined. Same thing, similar concept. And so that's all this working with metadata means. Now all you need to know is, if it is a system defined, what are those key names? What values can I set? What values can I set? And if it is user defined, I can have the choice of defining all those things. So what is the relation between bucket and object? Every object is part of a bucket. And every bucket will have a bunch of objects. Let's say this bucket has two objects. So that's how this metadata is defined in the system. Okay, let's draw some not invisible lines, but okay, let me draw some lines. Okay, so let's assume that this is a system defined metadata. Metadata, this object has some metadata that is system defined. System defined, yes. Okay, and then this object belongs to this bucket, and let's say this object belongs to this some other bucket, and this object has some metadata, and that metadata is not system defined, so that means user defined. So now I can have a key value pair that is of my choice, the key, say title in this case, this is user defined key, and whereas this one, because it's a system defined, I can have a key value pair that is a specified key, and it has I can put whatever values I want. I should have color coded this. Okay, let me draw one more color on top of this, just to show the difference. I'm going to use yellow for uh, user defined. It's the same thing. I'm just overriding instead of erasing it. I'm just overriding. Okay, so wherever you see yellow, that is user defined key. What is this key? This is the object key. Okay, so let's see. Every object should have a key. Okay, so that one, I don't have to draw these arrows, but just for the sake of it, I will draw right now. The object should have a key. Okay, so then you may ask, is this key object and this key object is the same? Well, it all depends upon how you are implementing in the system, in the server, on the server side, in the database. So it could be the same as long as these arrows are good, then you're good. Otherwise, you can call this as an object key, and then you can call this as a key value pair key, and then or you can say, you can even separate this key instead of saying system defined key and user defined key, and then it all depends upon how you want to implement that such a system in the back end. But for understanding purposes, as long as we understand that objects are part of a bucket and objects have keys, object have metadata, and metadata is system defined or user defined, and any metadata is nothing but a bunch of key value pairs, one or more, and then every key value pair concept is you have a key and a value, and that's it. Okay, so now when I go back to the documentation, all I'm going to see is some examples. The system defined object metadata. So when you read this, it should make sense. So this is all system defined date, current date and time, when that metadata is created, that object is uploaded. So you set the metadata and then you push it to S3. Cache control, content dispersion, content length, content type. So it is also showing here, can user modify the value? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. So there are certain things that you can modify, and then certain things you cannot modify. And there's X dash AMZ, that prefix is what they're using to define all the metadata. Okay. So that's just a naming convention they just use for convenience purposes. User-defined object data. Okay, you can read all this, and so there's some examples of different ways. Through SDK we can upload, through REST API we can upload, command line we can upload, through console also we can upload. But conceptually, that's what this is. All right, that's all I have for today. Good luck and see you next time. All right, bye-bye.